Hello and welcome to Legit Affairs with Mayank Shekhar. In this important video, today we are going to discuss about the issues faced by all the youngsters who are looking to build a practice in Delhi. We'll try to take each of their problems and try to provide proper guidance with help of our expert today. Our expert for today's video is Jasmeet Singh. Advocate Jasmeet Singh is an advocate on record in Supreme Court of India. He is also the managing partner at Chambers of Joshi and Singh. He has worked at a reputed law firm such as Herbert Smith LLP London, Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas, Khaitan and Company, Karanjawala and Company, to name a few, and is an expert in taxation law, civil criminal litigation and consumer laws, which makes him a confident lawyer. Sir, I will begin with asking the foremost question which every young litigant as a beginner has. That is, when, where and how should one start their career in litigation?
See, Mayank, this is a question which is in your head when you are in your final semester in law college. There's no straight answer to this. It depends on a lot of factors. Your financial background, your connections in Delhi, whether you are from Delhi or from outside, and a lot of other things. Now, primarily there are three options of starting litigation in Delhi. First one being you join a litigation team of a law firm, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. You join a junior counsel who primarily is practicing in lower courts and high court. Or you join a senior counsel who does mostly appellate work in high courts and Supreme Court. Now, each of this has their own advantage, their own disadvantage. Like for instance, if you join a law firm, generally it is presumed that your financial needs are taken care of. Like you'll pay your rents, you'll pay your tariffs, you'll make some savings, and if you have any bank loan, you'll be easily making installments. But if you join a junior counsel in lower courts, there are very few who pay more than your survival money. If you join a senior counsel, it's almost the same. But the factor is, if you join a law firm, since the matters are so high stakes, like these are generally multi-billion transactions or litigations, you will not get the first-hand exposure from day one. No client would trust you to deal with their matter. No client would allow you to speak up in court. If you join a junior counsel, it is likely that for smaller stake matters or for hearings which are not so effective, you might be addressing court from day one. So based on your needs, your financial needs, your expenses, your other tariffs, you have to decide whether you want to join a law firm or you want to join a senior counsel or a junior counsel's chamber.
Sir, a young advocate faces multitude of challenges with minimal sources of survival. What, according to you, are initial challenges for a fresher?
See, Mayank, if you ask me, if you come out of college and start practicing in Delhi, there are a lot of challenges. I mean, you come from small towns, suddenly you have to commute 2 hours from your home to go to court. You have to pay your rents, you have to pay your tariffs, you have to arrange for a lot of other things which you are comfortably getting in college. That's challenge number one. Then you compare your learning from your college to the professional learning, there is huge difference. So suddenly you are at shock. Like for instance, they teach you in college that writ petition is a very, very efficient mode of disposal of a case. You come here and you realize that writ petitions are pending for 15 years in high courts and Supreme Court. So it's not easy to take that shock. Then you are very new to drafting, you are very new to professional research. You don't know a lot of other things which you generally get to learn only in the profession. So you might be getting scoldings from your seniors, your confidence might get a dent. So these are the initial challenges that you face if you start to pursue your career in litigation, especially in Delhi.
Sir, out of the challenges which we have discussed, how important do you think it is to maintain a work-life balance? Because as an advocate, we see that maintaining work-life balance is really a big challenge.
See, Mayank, you're right. In litigation, I always say this, it's like a surgeon's life. Like you can have an emergency situation any time of the day. Now, I mean, there have been occasions when the clients have approached us at 10 p.m. in the night to say that they want to file a petition next day. So obviously, I mean, you call up home and say that you will not be coming home for the whole night and you'll be working on that brief. Now, thankfully for me, my wife is also a lawyer, and she hails from a lawyer background as well. So from day one, she understands the nuances and the challenges of this profession. So for me, it was easy. But yeah, obviously, this is a very challenging profession, and to maintain work-life balance, you obviously in the beginning of your career, in the initial years of your career, your profession takes far more priority over your personal life. I mean, as they say, law is a jealous mistress. Like, you can't give priority to your personal life, you can't give priority to your parties, you can't give priorities to your vacation. You might have to cancel each one of them on the client's requirement, otherwise the client would run away. You have to give priorities to your client's requirement. I mean, that's you're absolutely right. It's a very good question. Work-life balance in the initial years of this profession is very, very difficult to maintain. So those who want to do litigation should be prepared mentally that it will take a lot of energy. It will exhaust you. This profession will exhaust you, and you have to keep trying hard and hard and hard. And after a few years, probably you'll learn to do things in a better way, in a more efficient way, and then you can focus on your work-life balance. But for the initial years, there's no concept of work-life balance in this profession.
Sir, can I ask you for an example, or something must have happened to you while dealing with work-life balance of yours?
See, there are many examples. I mean, I remember there was a small function in my hometown, which is Beawar, Ajmer district, Rajasthan, and I had all my reservations and bookings done. But unfortunately, we lost a big matter in a tribunal. Now, we wanted stay from High Court immediately overnight. I had to cancel all my plans. Like, I was answerable to my social life, to my parents, to a lot of other people, that this function, despite being a home function, I was not able to attend. But of course, the client requirements, as I said, take priority over these things, and you have to give priority to these things. I mean, on a lot of occasions, my juniors cancel their home trips, their vacations, their dates, their parties, their lunches, their dinners, and give priority to office work. I mean, any litigating lawyer would have thousands of examples to cite where he gave priority to profession over his personal life.
So what are the important things which one should always keep in mind while practicing in Delhi?
See, one of the factors which is different from other second tier or third tier cities is that Delhi has a lot of scope for specialized practice. Like, as solicitors, sometimes client approach us and they say that who's a good counsel who does electricity laws, who's a good counsel for telecom laws, suggest a counsel for criminal law, suggest a counsel for PMLA and all those things. Now, in second tier and third tier cities, generally this super specialization bifurcation is not there. The major bifurcation is either you are a lawyer practicing civil laws or you are a lawyer practicing criminal law. In Delhi, I suggest to all the students, to all the juniors who start under me, that you have to have one subject for which you should be known for. You should have a specialization. It could be a subject of your interest, IPR, telecom laws, media laws, or anything. Like, for me, I started my career with Amarchand, and I was in their direct tax team. So for me, inadvertently, the specialization became direct taxation. And I did a lot of direct taxation work when I became independent or when I joined other law offices.
Some special power is always important to practice in Delhi. That is what I infer. So moving on, sir, what are the advantages of becoming an advocate on record in Supreme Court of India?
See, it's a very good qualification to have. I'll briefly tell you. I mean, you can't just proceed to give advocate on record examination as soon as you are out of college. The eligibility criteria is that you have to have 4 years of standing at the bar, plus you have to undertake 1 year of training under a 10-year experienced advocate on record. So you've already spent 5 to 6 years in the profession by the time you are eligible to give the advocate on record examination. Now, of course, it's not an easy examination. There are 4 papers and it is conducted by Supreme Court. And I mean, you have to have your own set of knowledge, your own set of skills to clear this examination. Once you become an advocate on record, it is obviously advantageous as compared to your fellow advocates who are not advocate on records. How? As an advocate on record, not only you can approach clients for work, corporate houses, individuals, or anybody. As an advocate on record, you can obviously get a feed from law firms and other lawyers. Like for instance, if there is a law firm who's represented a client before the High Court, now they wants to challenge something in Supreme Court. They need an advocate on record for doing the filing, so they approach you. So one of the big advantages that your client broadens, your client scope broadens. The other advantage is that there is an automatic respect in the eyes of bar as well as in the eyes of your own client. Like once you introduce yourself as an advocate on record, it is generally presumed that you are slightly above average lawyers for sure. So that's another advantage which you get by getting this qualification.
All right. So moving on to how can one set up their own independent law firm in Delhi?
See, Mayank, you can't begin a law firm in Delhi from day one, and especially if you are from outside Delhi and you don't have any background or any support in Delhi. You have to have 5, 7, 10 years of practice in Delhi to understand the nuances of practice in Delhi, to understand the requirements of clients in Delhi, and a lot of other things. So my suggestion is that whoever has spent 5, 7, 8, 10 years of profession in Delhi, if he wants to go independent, Delhi offers a lot of opportunities, and you can obviously succeed if you do your hard work. But you should have a buffer of at least 1 year, because not everyone can afford offices in Jorbagh or Golf Links or Sundar Nagars. Of course, not even Defense Colony or Jangpura, for instance. You have to have, these are high rental places where you end up paying a lot of money for your office space. Of course, in addition, there is expense for keeping juniors, there is expense for administrative staff, and a lot of other things. So my suggestion is to anybody who wants to go independent, that he should have a buffer of at least 1 year to go independent, because it's time consuming, it's challenging, and above all, it's a huge risk. So if you have a buffer of 1 year of economic support, then obviously you can play around, you can meet people, you can work hard. If you deliver well, one client leads to other, and a lot of other things fall at place. But yeah, initial 1 year is a high risk period, and you should have a cushion of financial support for that 1 year. So that's very challenging. Second year onwards, if you are doing well, obviously, things smoothen up. But if you're not doing well, couple of years, there are many examples where people try their luck in independent offices. They don't succeed. They go back to law firms or their previous offices or in-house in corporate houses, and then they proceed their career in that direction.
So will you like to tell us about your seniors who helped you and guided you to go solo?
See, Mayank, I must thank my stars. I was very, very lucky. Throughout my career, I've had exceptionally great seniors. Like when I was in Amarchand, my partner in charge was Mr. Asim Chawla. I was closely working with Mr. Amit Singhania, Mr. Sandeep Chilana, Mr. Gagan Kumar, all these people. Now, these people were extremely helpful mentors. Like they cleared all my doubts, all my confusion. They gave me perspective about litigation. They clarified a lot of other things, which in my head, I had no clarity about. Then after spending a couple of years in Amarchand, I joined Karanjawala. Mr. Ryan Karanjawala, an extremely hardworking and open-hearted man. And of course, as they say, you are as good as your office. His legacy continues to grow, bigger and bigger, and it flows to the other partners of the law firm as well. Ms. Meghna Mishra, Mr. Amitesh Mishra, Mr. Devmalya Banerjee. These were the partners with whom I worked. They were extraordinary support. In Karanjawala, one of the special things is that they allow you to do independent practice over and above the work which you do for the firm. Now, that's a big advantage. Because for whatever time you spend there, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you not only learn a lot of things by handling the matters in which firm is representing clients, you also have an opportunity to make your own clientele. So by the time you decide to go independent, you already have few clienteles and few briefs to carry forward. that's a huge advantage to work in Karanjawal.
Sir, as per my understanding, you are from Rajasthan. And how difficult it has been for you to rope in big corporate clients in Delhi in the initial days?
See, Mayank, it didn't happen overnight. You have to work towards it, and you have to find your way out. Now, few of the tips which you start to make clients is that first you have to socialize a lot. I mean, with socialization, I not only mean, attending lawyers' parties and all those things. Generally, you have to be an extrovert person. Like, I mean, there have been instances for me when I met somebody on my, way back from an outstation matter, introduced myself, and in few days he approached me with a brief. So you have to be extrovert. You have to introduce yourself, and then probably, if you connect with the other person, probably you'll make a prospective client. But this is first thing. Second thing, you have to have a good circle. Like, you have to have good friends who are practicing in various courts, not only in Delhi but outside Delhi as well, because you refer them work, they refer you work. The third and most important thing is that, see, any client you make would give you one or two opportunities. I mean, he's not going to stay with you unless you deliver. So in the one or two opportunities which the client give you, you have to make the best use of it. Like, you perform well, you deliver well, one thing would lead to other. That client would give good reviews about you to others, and you'll end up making decent clients. So these three things which you have to keep in mind. First, socialize, be extrovert. Second, have to have a good circle. And third, work hard, deliver well. I mean, these clients, Delhi has a huge pie. Each one can get their own share. And of course, these things.
That is why all the lawyers are flocking into Delhi.
Yeah, one of the reasons.
So, like the wonderful mentors which you had in your life, I hope this video reaches to all the people who are trying to practice or who are looking to start their practice, and they see a mentor in you. And as a mentor, I hope that you will help us helping them out. And if they have any concerns, I'll just request them to feel free to write this in our comment box, and we'll try answering, and request you to answer few of the queries which we are unable to do, and they'll get a mentor who will be guiding them throughout this journey. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out time from your busy schedule and giving us such a wonderful insight, and your valuable contribution will surely guide many youngsters to build a very good career. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mayank. It's absolute pleasure of mine. Thank you so much.